cannot confirm yet kasi alam mo, dalawang beses na kami na kuryente dyan. So, ang ano namin is pagka lumipad na yung aircraft sa Belgium, that's the time that we will confirm.
Vaccine Chief Carlito Galvez still will not certify or assure about the arrival of AstraZeneca shots by tomorrow. This after the Palace and Senator Bongo announced the arrival of more than 480,000 doses.
But will the jabs of the British-Swedish drug maker be effective against the newly detected South African variant? The Octa Research Group doesn't think so. Good evening, I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. We begin with the vaccine chief himself, hesitant to confirm that AstraZeneca shots are set to arrive tomorrow.
But if the vaccines do arrive, experts warn that the shots may be useless in arresting the spread of the South African variant. Greg Gregorio has the big story.
The country's stockpile of jabs is about to get a boost. Shots from British-Swedish firm AstraZeneca are expected to arrive tomorrow, at least according to the Palace and Senator Bongo. More than 487,200 doses of AstraZeneca shot will land at the Villamore Air Base Thursday night. But vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. is hesitant to confirm this.
Dalawang beses na kami na kuryente dyan. So, ang ano namin is pagka lumipad na yung aircraft sa Belgium, that's the time that we will confirm.
But when it does arrive, the Octa Research Group is concerned they would only be rendered useless. Citing studies, Father Nicanor Austriacos said the South African variant reduces AstraZeneca's 70% average efficacy rate to 10%.
South Africa decided to abandon the AstraZeneca vaccine because it was no different than injecting water into the patients.
The country has detected 6 cases of the B1351 variant, 3 of which were initially reported from Pasay City. Octa flags the spike in the city's infections. Reproduction rate is above 2. One more case of the South African variant has been detected in Pasay City. That puts the city's total case of the new variant to 4. Austriaco is not discounting the surge's link to the new variant.
One area of concern, one reason for our concern is that the ongoing surge in Pasay and the NCR has the hallmark of a variant-driven surge.
But health officials are holding off on making such conclusions.
Malamang po, pwede siyang maging factor pero hindi po siya talaga yung tinatawag na main driver ng ating pag-increase.
Yung apat na ito ay hindi pa natin nakikitaan na may link to each other. No?
Dr. Edsel Salvana said Sinovac doses could be more effective against the new variant.
Itong Sinovac po is a whole inactivated vaccine. Ibig sabihin yung buong virus po, hindi lang pyesa. Mukhang potentially mas resistant po talaga ito sa ating variant.
But cases are rising across the metro. NCR's Metro Manila's reproduction rate is now at 1.3 to 1.5. If this is not curbed, Octa warns the current case average of 770 may shoot up to 2,200 by the end of March. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Now, to shed more light on these reported new COVID-19 variants, we have with us Dr. Nina Gloriani. She is the head of government's Vaccine Expert Development Panel. Dr. Gloriani, welcome to The Big Story.
Yes, good evening, Robbie.
Ma'am,
Gretchen.
Ma'am, maybe let's clarify and update us. Let's start with the basics. What do we understand about the South African variants and how is this different from all the other variants we've been reporting about?
Okay, you have basically 3 variants of concern. The UK variant, the Brazilian variant, and the South African variant. Among the 3, the South African variant has the most number of mutations, meaning it has changed its, the part that is most important, the spike, and especially the receptor binding domain, has changed a lot of it. So the first generation vaccines that have been used, the antibodies generated against those, have lost the ability to bind to the variant. So I heard your news. Yes, that's correct. 10% efficacy in South Africa. at this time, or at that time, because the variant circulating in South Africa when this was tested was 90% variant already. So the original strain only 10%.
Okay. Now, a number of things there, no? Now we're observing how it behaves against particular vaccines. At the same time, hindi pa naman ganun karami yung number of South African variants that have been detected here in the Philippines. On the other hand,
Yes.
the R naught is higher for this particular variant. Given everything, should we be reconsidering our strategy, at least when it comes to particular vaccines like AstraZeneca?
You know the choice of vaccine to procure? No. You should just be fast enough, we don't have much choice. Not that we don't have much choice, but we do have the AstraZeneca coming in soon. Now, we only have 6 cases. If we do enough to contain those 6 cases, we should not have the variant going around and spreading itself. So, the point in vaccination, to get the herd immunity, is to immunize as many as possible in a short period of time, as quickly as possible,
Okay.
to generate enough immunity and outrun or before the variant overtakes us. That's the usual explanation.
Yeah.
We have to work fast.
So right now we're still in the big picture here. I guess that's the point. Now, parang
Yes.
big problem muna ang address natin, then we can drill down later on the details.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Dr. Nina Gloriani, maraming salamat po. That was Dr. Gloriani, head of the government's panel of experts. It's not just in the Philippines where infections are on the rise. Worldwide, COVID-19 cases have risen for the first time in 7 weeks. Tonight's big number, 7%. That's the rise reported by the WHO in new COVID-19 cases worldwide last week. More than 2.6 million new cases were recorded. The slight uptick was mainly driven by increases in the Eastern Mediterranean and here in Southeast Asia.
These are the other big stories tonight. Vaccination drives have finally started in private hospitals, but facilities have to contend with high hesitancy among health workers. The Education Department is abandoning plans to shorten the school summer break to 2 weeks. They've also laid out plans for a possible return to face-to-face classes. And a harrowing scene from Bolivia. 5 students fell to their death after a balcony collapsed inside a university. These big stories when we come back.
Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay. Pasay officials are taking the necessary measures following the spike in infections in a new COVID variant in the city. Let's get more details from Lynn Olivario, who's reporting live from Pasay. Lynn, what protocols are now in place in the city?
Robbie, Barangay 183 has the most number of active COVID-19 cases in Pasay City at 34. The entire barangay is now placed under localized enhanced community quarantine starting today until March 17. Barangay 183 residents in Pasay City are limited to a single entry and exit point in Mapa Street. Pedestrians and motorists have to present IDs as proof of residence. Some residents find security in the measure, with the South African variant detected in the city.
Para maiwasan din po pag halimbawa may mga nagdadala pong ibang sakit. Sana po ma'am, masunod po sila sa barangay para po mawala na po yung COVID.
Food and delivery riders have to show a health certificate. But those without documents like JM have to stay at the checkpoint outside the barangay hall while waiting for his client.
Mahirap po sa amin kasi dito sa initan nag-aantay. Minsan walang masilungan. Yun lang po.
The long wait also eats away time for other deliveries.
Sana mag-iwan na lang po ng ID para mabilis na lang po yung process.
In an interview last night with the chiefs, Pasay City Mayor Imelda Calixto Rubiano said other areas with more than 2 cases are placed under clustered restrictions.
Nilo-localize enhanced community quarantine po namin. Tinitignan po namin ito by clusters. Kung sa isang bahay, merong cases na 2 or more, ilalockdown po yan.
Barangay 183 hopes to just be placed under clustered community restriction instead of a granular lockdown.
Napakahirap naman kasi napakalaki ng population namin dito sa Barangay 183. Almost 40,000 kami.
Barangay personnel hold continuous patrols to remind residents the do's and don'ts while on lockdown. Protocol violators will face fines. Robbie, the system starting tomorrow for delivery services will be like this. They will be allowed to enter provided they first fill out a health declaration form via QR code scanning. They must also leave a valid ID at the checkpoint. Deliveries of 1 to 3 parcels also have to be finished within 30 minutes, while those delivering more than 4 parcels will just have to inform the barangay personnel at the checkpoint to allow them more grace period. Robbie.
Maraming salamat, Lynn. That was Lynn Olivario reporting from Pasay. Blake.
More hospitals in the metro, both public and private, received supplies of Sinovac shots today. While some health workers are warming up to getting the vaccine, others have become more fearful. Let's find out why in Jerry Dongan's report.
After a series of public hospitals commenced their inoculation drive, it's now the turn of private hospitals. But reception to the vaccination was less than warm at the medical city in Pasig City. The facility received 4,000 doses, but only 4 health staff took the job on day 1.
As far as this particular vaccine is concerned, it says that they don't recommend it for people older than 59. No? So 18 to 59 lang. That excludes me already. No? So quite a number of the doctors who are already in that senior age, of course, we told them that if they wanted to be vaccinated, they will have to go through the waiver mechanism.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque administered the first shot in the facility. He encouraged workers not to doubt the jobs.
Lahat po naman ito ay dumaan na sa napaka-mahigpit na pagsusuri, mataas na pamantayan na ginamit for safety, quality, and efficacy.
Over at St. Luke's Medical Center in Quezon City, over 1,600 staff signed up for inoculation this afternoon. The hospital requested for an additional 5,000 doses to inoculate their 9,000 employees.
Even if you have money, nobody can give you a vaccine. Even if you had $1 million, which sometimes we're paying for that for our employees, you can't get any vaccine.
As for public hospitals, vaccine confidence has been rising at the Santa Ana Hospital in Manila. Only 20% of its 600 healthcare workers initially listed for the drive, but more expressed willingness.
Tumataas na rin yung confidence level nila after seeing us got vaccinated yesterday.
But the opposite happened at the lung center of the Philippines. Only 50 medical workers were inoculated yesterday. Their fear worsened over reports that a person died after receiving CoronaVac in Hong Kong.
Unang-una sir, galing ng China yun. Kasi ang aming kaisipan, saan parang galing yung COVID-19, di ba sa China? Tapos sila rin ang gagawa ng gamot.
The health department clarifies there's no proof that the vaccine has something to do with the death of 64-year-old man in Hong Kong. He was also receiving treatment for chronic diseases. Local health experts maintained there's no reason to fear the Sinovac shot.
Based on what the clinical trials show, napakalaki po talaga ng epekto nito sa pagpababa ng risk na mamatay, lalong-lalo na yung ating mga vulnerable population.
It will take 3.4 million vaccine doses to cover all 1.7 health workers across the country. Some 100,000 Sinovac shots have been delivered to hospitals so far. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
Exclusive footage acquired by News 5 appeared to support PIDEA's narrative of the PIDEA during the February 24 shootout. The clip showed two PIDEA vehicles in Manila that afternoon. These appeared to be the same vehicles that were laden with bullets after the bungled entrapment. It may confirm PIDEA's claim that their operation was initially set in Manila. Another exclusive footage shows a man being dragged by operatives. Officials are verifying if this was PIDEA's asset who was later found dead. Meanwhile, the National Police Internal Affairs Service will be conducting its own investigation on the matter.
We don't want to interfere first the inquiry and investigation of NBI, no? Kasi hintayin nila na kung matapos yung investigation, then meron na mga papel, then it's the time that they will seek all the papers and documents for the administrative case.
Time for an express look at some of the day's big stories. Sinopharm may have its emergency use in the country delayed further due to lack of documents. FDA Director General Eric Domingo says Sinopharm has yet to submit clinical trial results and certificate of good manufacturing practice. Domingo earlier noted that evaluation may take around 4 to 6 weeks. Students may spend a half day in school during the proposed dry run of face-to-face classes, according to the Education Department. DepEd Undersecretary Nepomuceno Malaluan says class schedules may still vary between schools as long as they last for only half a day. The dry run was originally scheduled last January but was suspended due to the UK variant. And after much criticism, DepEd is now withdrawing its proposal to shorten summer break to 2 weeks. DepEd Undersecretary Diosdado San Antonio earlier also wanted to extend the academic year by another 2 weeks. Time for another quick break. When we return, 5 students in Bolivia fell to their death after a crowded balcony gave way. And country singer Dolly Parton tweaked a classic to encourage people to get that much needed COVID-19 shot. Listen to the tune after the break.
Good evening, I'm Robbie Alampay. You're still watching The Big Story. Have you ever queued in a government office early in the morning only to be entertained a couple of hours later? Well, you no longer have to wait that long, at least in SSS offices. The agency is boosting its online services. Shaila Francisco with the details.
As early as 1 in the morning, some Social Security system members line up in its offices to claim benefits or loans. The SSS tried a solution: number coding. But the scheduled scheme proved to be a band-aid solution, especially in the middle of a pandemic. That's why SSS now came up with a more apt answer: digital services.
Pensioners, covered employers, and the public a faster, more convenient, and more efficient means of transacting with us.
More than 20 services are already available at the My.SSS portal. These include loans for calamity and pension, benefits from retirement and unemployment, as well as funeral claims. Updating contact information and other inquiries may now also be done online. According to SSS data, 75% of members have gone digital in 2020, an increase from just 35% the year before. More than 10 million of 38 million members have already registered at My.SSS. Its mobile apps have at least 11 million downloads. This year, the agency plans to add online employer registration and submission of employment records, filing of disability claim, death claim, and maternity application. E-centers are also still available in SSS branches. SSS assures members of data privacy.
Meron po tayong mga data protection officers na nagbibigay linaw ng mga information o personal information na maaari nating ma-share, maibigay sa ating mga miyembro. Mahigpit po ang ginagawang mga screening.
For now, there's still no update on the possible increase in SSS contribution, but it may be necessary in the long run.
Meron po tayong reserve, pero kailangan din po natin in the long term na talagang suportahan yung mga benepisyo dahil hindi ho lumilihit ang benepisyo natin. Every year, dumadami ho ang members ng SSS, pero ang contribution ho, kung liliit siya.
As of last year, SSS has disbursed about 30 billion pesos in calamity loans and 1.7 billion pesos in unemployment benefits. They expect to release the same amount this year due to the pandemic. Shaila Francisco, VR1 News.
Let's take a look at the biggest stories on print and online. From Philstar.com, the Foreign Affairs Department joins the call for the release of Myanmar's detained leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Referring to a Filipino adage, Secretary Teddy Locsin stressed that Myanmar is not a small finger, but a big part of the region. From Business World Live, Gerard Seno, Vice President of the Associated Labor Unions, raises the alarm over the proposed no vaccine, no work policy in some private firms. But Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III says he will be issuing an order prohibiting companies from requiring employees to get COVID-19 shots. And from News 5, Metro Pacific Investments Corporation is confident it will recover by 2022. This as the company reported a 10.2 billion peso net income in 2020, 34% lower than its 2019 figure. Among its most hit operations are for toll highways and light rail services.
The first quarter numbers are looking similar to the fourth quarter numbers last year, no? So I think if we could maintain simply that trend for the first quarter, that would be great.
And here are the other big stories from around the world. Just a warning to our viewers, the next story contains graphic images. At least 5 college students died in Bolivia on Tuesday after you saw that balcony railing collapsing at the El Alto Public University. The victims fell from the 4th floor of the building. In this horrific footage of the accident, a large group of students were shown gathered on a crowded balcony when the railing collapsed. The students gathered to attend an assembly. 3 people are still under intensive care. And U.S. President Joe Biden says the country will have enough COVID-19 vaccines for every American adult by the end of May. Merck & Company and Johnson & Johnson teamed up to accelerate delivery of 100 million vaccine doses this month. Biden said the U.S. government had invoked the Defense Production Act to help equip 2 Merck plants to make the J&J vaccine.
In the world of sports, Pinay skateboarding star Margie Dadal is winning ahead over Tokyo Olympic bid. Margie was named Asia Skater of the Year for the women's division in 2020, besting 59 other lady skaters. She won 2 other recognitions in the Asia Skateboarding Awards. That's the Style for Miles Award and the fastest feat in Asia. The Cebuana skate icon is setting her sights on the Tokyo Olympics, confident that she will book a slot with her current global ranking. And it's official, the PLDT home fiber hitters and the Signal HD spikers are now part of the PVL family. The sister teams made separate announcements on Tuesday, confirming their entry to the country's first professional volleyball league. Roger Gorayev will be coaching the fiber hitters, while the HD spikers have yet to name theirs. Smart is on a roll after tapping BTS as its endorser. Smart teases another big-time brand ambassador, this time from Hollywood. The telco earlier posted a video of a man riding a motorcycle. Last March too, Smart also posted the same man on a mountain cliff watching the sea. Users are excited, with some already coming up with their own guesses. The big reveal will happen tomorrow at noon. And as a sign of solidarity with Asian Americans who have been subjects of hate in the United States, Pixar makes its Disney Plus exclusive Float available on YouTube. It showcases Filipino characters. Please watch the report.
In solidarity with Asians, Pixar finally uploads on YouTube its animated short, Float. It showcases Filipino characters. It premiered on November 12, 2019 on Disney Plus, which remains unavailable in the country. It depicts a father who tries to hide his levitating son for fear of scrutiny.
Why can't you just be normal?
Filipino-American director Bobby Rubio made the story. He digs from his personal experience as a father to a son with autism. His animated short earned lots of praises and tugged a lot of heartstrings. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
Grammy-winning legend Dolly Parton gets her first dose of the Moderna vaccine. To mark the occasion, she changed the lyrics of her classic Jolene. Parton says she's old and smart enough to get vaccinated before clearing her throat and singing immediately afterward. She urged those who fear the jabs to not be chicken squats. Parton even joked that she got a dose of her own medicine. Quite literally, last year she donated $1 million for Moderna research.
Vaccine, 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 vaccine. I'm begging of you, please don't hesitate. Vaccine, 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 vaccine. 'Cause once you're dead, then that's a bit too late.
I think I can memorize that song.
Okay. But it's a good thing, di ba? Worldwide and even here, you feel the momentum building. Di ba? Tumataas yung confidence even sa hospital staff. Hopefully that...
That's right.
Oh, di ba? Hopefully
I
that's
like what
infectious.
she said. She said old and smart enough to get vaccinated. And actually, I wanted to take the Moderna one. Kasi si Dr. Fauci, di ba yan?
Oo. But kanina nga, sabi ni Dr. Gloriani, huwag kayong mamili. The best vaccine is still kung ano yung available.
That's true. And that wraps up today's big story. My name is Gretchen Ho. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. I'm Robbie Alampay, and we are One News. Good evening.